this is it, the 2019 World Athletics Championships in Doha, and it's set to be a scorcher.
Christian Coleman in a world of his own.
It's going to be loud! There's your world champion. Another one for Shelley-Ann Fraser-Pryce. The British fans cheer. They're ready. We're ready. Katrina Johnson-Thompson, I'm sure, is ready. Katrina Johnson-Thompson is going to finish off the best heptathlon of her life.
She's the world champion. 1/100th of a second at the end of 3,000 metres.
Oh my word! Unbelievable!
Silver for Great Britain. Noah Lyles has a gold again.
A world record to go with the world title. Is this Dina Asher-Smith's moment? Dina Asher-Smith is away, and she's going to take the gold medal. Dina has done it.
Well, it's almost exactly a year since the start of those incredible World Athletics Championships, and what a year it's been. But finally, athletics is back in Doha, and with it, 15 of those world medalists who are all looking for one great final performance to finish off this strangest of seasons. Armand Duplantis has been supreme this year, but was second to Sam Kendricks at last year's World Championships. Tonight, they're joined by British champion Harry Koppel. World champions Helena Beery and Beatrice Chepkoech feature in a stacked 3,000-metre field, including Britain's Laura Waitman and Ailish McColgan. Double Olympic champion Elaine Thompson is back in world-beating form. Can she inspire rising British stars Crystal Awuah and Amy Hunt? And there's a feast of middle-distance races on offer. Plenty of stars and British interest in the men's 1,500 metres and 800 metres for both men and women. And this evening's events are actually at the Qatar Sports Club, which is just down the road from that incredible venue, the Khalifa Stadium we enjoyed last year. We've got 8 track races over the next 90 minutes or so, culminating in that exciting lineup for the 3,000 metres, as well as 2 field disciplines. Colin Jackson is alongside me to enjoy this one. A Diamond League meet that we never thought even the whole season would begin. To get to the end is incredible, really, that so many events have actually happened.
It's been really exciting for us. It was something that, as you say, we weren't expecting, so anything we got, we were happy for. But what a season has been. It's been phenomenal in some events.
To get a world record in this, well, we've had a couple of world records, but to get the pole vault world record, a long-standing record, beaten in this season, has been phenomenal from young Armand Duplantis. But let's not forget, before we even heard of the words coronavirus, he'd got another world record at the beginning of the year.
Absolutely. He jumped the highest jump ever of all time, which is 6 metres 18, which he did indoors. Phenomenal jump. And we were all holding our breath that he could do something special outdoors as well. And there he is there, clearing that 6:18. Cool as ice.
That was an amazing moment, wasn't it?
Absolutely fantastic to see that. And I say, this young man, remember, in 2017, so only 3 years ago, he was winning the European Junior title. And here he is, clearing the highest jump of all times. Phenomenal. That
was so incredible, because remember, he was about to go and then somebody said go, and he just kind of rocked back on his heels, and it kind of took your breath away because he didn't have that moment to build the crowd up. He just did it, and it was almost like nobody was watching, so I'll just go and do this and see. And then, as you say, we thought, what can he do outdoors? So when the season locked down, it almost felt like there was an opportunity missed, but he has grasped that opportunity, hasn't he?
Fully. And when you think that we have had a lockdown, so technical events have found it really difficult to prepare and to do all the, those little tiny things you need to correct to hone your skill. This young man has just been phenomenal. Jumping higher than Sergei Bubka with that 6:15 that he did in Rome was, again, something that was breathtaking. We wanted to see it. We were hoping that he could clear. And look, his reaction was, yes, I have done it.
There was relief, I think, from him, wasn't there? I mean, this post-competition interview, you could sense a bit of like, I feel like everybody's been expecting me and now I've delivered it. So will that relief release something even bigger? Can he go bigger? Because Sergei Bubka thinks he can.
Yes, Sergei thinks he's going to go over that 6:20 mark, 6:25 perhaps. And I think, yes, he's capable of doing that. And I think you're absolutely right there, Gabby, in the sense that that pressure now is off. So now it's just about winning.
Of course, last year he came second to Sam Kendricks. And Sam Kendricks this year, while he's enjoyed kind of head-to-heads and competing with him, just hasn't been able to kind of live up to that status as world champion.
It's been really frustrating for him because he himself has jumped over 6 metres this year on a few occasions, and you can see how frustrating when you're doing phenomenal performances, you're really very much on the undercard. So any athlete says to you, if you would like to be on the undercard and jump in really incredible heights, you'd say, no, I want to be the leader. But, you know, he is world champion and you can never, ever write him off. Come the Olympic Games, he's going to be one to watch.
And one of the great kind of British performances this year was a new record in the pole vault for Harry Coppell, which we saw in Manchester a few weeks ago. He's got a bit to go to be mixing it with these guys, but this is a major breakthrough for him.
Huge breakthrough to do 585 because he knows these are the type of jumps that can get him into major finals. And once you're into finals in the pole vault, and I know we're talking about exceptional athletes, but literally anything can happen. So he knows now he's jumped this 585. His next target is to be very consistent at this type of height because then he will really be challenging.
And of course, you know, just getting on the Diamond League circuit as well is really quite a new experience for him. It's tough, obviously, to do. He hadn't fared so well last week, did he? And tonight, unfortunately, it's proved to be a bit too much for him.
Yeah, you know, sometimes the emotion of your success can get to you, and it is, we mentioned it being a little bit of a burden, and you can sometimes take your eye off the actual goal in that sense. So you can see he's really disappointed because he knows what he's capable of doing. But he's going to sit out now. He'll be watching some of the best pole vaulters in the world perform, and he'll be taking note. And you can always learn from taking note and taking this all-new experience that he's going through into the winter with this real drive.
Good stuff. OK, well, earlier I caught up with our commentator, Steve Cram, who was just putting the finishing touches to his commentator's notes ahead of tonight and his thoughts on the season that's just gone.
So the final Diamond League of the season in Doha, in a year which we thought perhaps we wouldn't get any athletics, it really has been phenomenal. And I think a massive amount of credit is due to the Diamond League themselves and particularly to the meet promoters, some of whom very early on took on some big risks, really. No crowds, no spectators, but the athletes have been superb. We've had a memorable year, not just because of everything else that's been going on, but some of the performances have been stupendous. I know we've talked about the pole vault a lot and Mr. Duplantis and Sam Kendricks, but for me, the middle distances and into the long distance have also been memorable. Some incredible performances. We've seen the likes of Jake Whiteman running so well, and of course Laura Muir and Gemma Ricci. But across the 800, 1500, 3000, 5000 on a world level, it really has been special. I think because the middle distance athletes were able to keep training through March and April and May, delaying their season, but still able to train pretty hard, you know, non-technical events, get the endurance in, and they've come out really with high-level performances. Going to see more of that tonight. Timothy Chariot, Faith Kipyegon, normally in the 1500, they're going in to very, very good 800-metre races. Looking forward to seeing them in the shorter distance. Men's 1500, Stuart McSwain's been breaking Australian records for fun, and I think he will be the favourite there. But perhaps the race of the night, 3,000 metres. Helen Obiri, of course, the double world champion at 5,000 metres, won in Doha last year, of course. And a lot of her teammates who haven't been racing are here. The Kenyans and Ethiopians are back in force tonight, particularly in this women's 3,000. So it'll be up to Laura Waitman to lead the charge of the rest. Good few Brits in there. Jess Hull of Australia as well. Should be a really, really good race. A fast one, I think. And of course, it's going to be pretty warm.
It is, indeed. We know just how warm it gets in Doha. This time last year, those World Championships took place regularly up in the high 30s. And, of course, the Khalifa had the air conditioning, but this stadium doesn't. It's
the regular stadium that the athletes will compete in. So when they go to the Doha meeting earlier in the year, in May usually, it's going to be just as hot as they are performing now. So they'll be all very used to this stadium. And the distance races this season, as Steve alluded to there, have really set kind of the athletics alight, haven't they? And British performances as well. Oh, yeah. They've been really incredible. And you've got to mention Jake Whiteman. His performance in Monaco was just sensational. To go into that 3 minutes 30 mark in the 1500 is truly outstanding. And now it just makes all our middle distance very competitive. It's got to be said, Gabby, we seem like we're having a full team. Great sprinters, great middle distance runners, and it's looking good. Well, that's for the British contingent, but generally, globally, the sprints actually haven't kind of really come to life, have they, until last week?
when a certain Olympic champion came to town?
Well, it's obvious that her Achilles injuries that she was suffering from last year have certainly cleared up. I mean, she's looking phenomenal yet again. And it's great to see her laying there. You know, she's going to see her now streaking away. And this is why we really see her, don't we? Pulling away at the back end of the race with that beautiful, flawless technique. Going under the 10-second mark with 10.85. Will she go faster today? It has a lot of potential there because the conditions will be nice, they'll be warm, she can relax because, if I'm honest, there's nobody else under 11 seconds in this competition, so she should get out really nice and strong and just keep focusing on getting time.
You were with us last week watching, I'm sure you're watching at home. We had Adam Jamili and Denise in the studio, and, you know, I was wondering, watching her, kind of how Dina Asher-Smith would be feeling at home watching that. What do you think Dina's take would be on Elaine's performance?
You're always feeling to yourself, I want to compete. All athletes want to compete, but also she'll have a very level-headed approach to it as well and said, well, I decided to take the season out. I decided what I wanted to do. I'll race when and how I want. I'm a world champion. So when you're carrying all that on your shoulders, you can make those choices. She's a phenomenal athlete. You've got to also remember as well, Gab, that she's suffered a lot of injuries before and have come back very strongly. So she knows she can take seasons off and still perform very highly. And
while she hasn't been around, Imani Lansiko, of course, became British champion, and Amy Hunt as well, really stepping up into the senior kind of level now. And she was at the British Championships behind Imani. She's out tonight as well. To be lining up next to Elaine Thompson, it's going to be a really great experience for her to finish her season.
You're right. It's gathering all that experience. She's third from the right of our screen there. She's working hard, isn't it? But holding it together. Remember how young she is. She's really taking on the seniors and saying, I'll take you on your home turf. You know, I can still disappear to my junior ranks if I want to, but I can really take you on. And to me, that is the really important thing. You gain experience and you're talented.
And she could be one of those athletes who would benefit from Olympic Games being delayed by a year, because the experience in the winter that she's going to have, she's off to Cambridge University, although she'll be in a room on her own, as poor students are at the moment, and then out on the track. She's going to get a lot of more experience, a lot more, you know, training, a lot of power training, and obviously her start as well, which is something that can be tweaked. So, you know, we could see an even better athlete next summer pushing for that Olympic place.
We definitely will. There's no doubt about it. She definitely will be so much better. We always got to keep our fingers crossed when athletes are so young as well, though, is it the sense that they stay injury-free. Because when you're still growing and moving your way through these senior ranks, there's times those little nagging injuries can be a pain.
Well, there's an athlete who knows all about injuries, niggling injuries, is Pozzi. And he has had, you know, his woes. He's had his times where it's, you know, things haven't gone right. But this season, he's managed to put together some really great performances. I know you've been. He's not out there tonight, but you've been impressed by him. Yeah,
he's been really strong this year. You know, he equalled his personal best, got close to on a couple of occasions as well. And the most important thing, as I always said to him, is to keep himself really consistent in that mark. He's smack in the middle of the field now. Right now, you see him edging away. He starts to pull away. It was a really important race for him to finish off his track and field season with something close to his best, and it virtually was. 13.16 there, 13.15 is round down to. His PB's 13.14. Great, really, season for him.
And to be in good condition, to come through it without injuries, to go into another strong winter ahead of next summer bodes well for him, because he's still, you know, he's been around a while, but he's still, you know, he's not old, is he?
No, he's not. He still has that opportunity. It's a technical event, which he's going to learn all the time. But the most important thing, Gab, is what we always allude to. It's a sense that gives you that sense of confidence. You feel nice and strong because you're injury-free. You can start the winter with a good season behind you. You've got more than a fighting chance.
And Cindy Ofili, speaking of hurdles, has competed quite a bit as well this season and been putting in some consistent performances.
Yeah, she will look to go under 13-second mark yet again, and that's going to be really crucial for her. I think there's only 2 people in the field that's gone under that 13-second mark this season, competing tonight. And there she is, right in the middle of the field there, up here in the northwest. And you can see she seems to have that little bit of control, but she's lacked racing. That's always the problem when it comes to the high hurdles. And when you haven't got into your groove rhythm consistently, you can be a little bit all over the place. But she takes the victory well here, which is the most important thing. She's going to completely different conditions in Doha. It'll be, you remember how cool it was that night when she was running. Completely different conditions. So I think she'll enjoy them and go into 13 seconds again.
Looking forward to it. Now, before we get to tonight's action, a reminder that this year's London Marathon is finally going ahead next week. It'll be very different, with elite-only races on a closed course around St James's Park. 19 laps they're running at 2.2 kilometres. Plenty of runners, of course, taking part, virtually tens of thousands from all around the country and indeed the world. But you can see it all here on the BBC. Our coverage starts at 7 o'clock next Sunday. Right, now let's get on with it then and join your commentators, Chris Dennis and Steve Cram.
Hello and welcome to Doha for the final meeting of what has been a challenging but hugely exhilarating Diamond League season. It's almost a year since we were here in Qatar for the World Championships. How times have changed since then. Well, once again, no spectators here at the Qatar Sports Club due to COVID-19, but there'll be plenty of atmosphere thanks to technology and plenty of world-class athletes too. 27 Olympic and world medalists in action for what should be a thrilling end-of-season finale, including a cracking women's 3,000 metres. Well, it's all very serene at the Qatar Sports Club, but a terrific programme ahead. Warm and humid conditions, 36 degrees centigrade, 60% humidity. Chris Dennis and Steve Cram with you for the next 90 minutes. Let's get straight to the action then, and the first race on the track.
Thanks, Chris, and good evening, everybody. First event on the track, the men's 400 metres, and moving in from the outside, we've got Abbas of Qatar, the 23-year-old. Many of them went to the Turkish Championships, a kind of mix of some of the African athletes and some from Qatar and other Middle East countries competed there. That's where his season's best was made. A couple of 400-metre hurdlers in this, including David Kenzira, the American. 48-42 last year over the hurdles, and not too far away. That was just a tad quicker than, actually tad slower than this man here, Ludwig Vaillant of France. The two of them looking for some speed over the flat. Now, Kamari Montgomery, real talent, improving all the time. Won recently with just beat Josephus Lyles, the younger brother of Noah Lyles, over 400 metres where he set his season's best in Hungary. And Yusuf Karam, one of the quickest in the world. Only two men have gone under 45 seconds this year. But this man ran his third fastest ever in Rome last week. But now, Rabah Youssef, not many have raced more than him. The British athlete's had 10 races in the last 5 weeks and is actually getting quicker. He might not want the season to end yet. Kennedy Luchembe from Zambia, based in Spain, in Valencia. 19-year-old. Also ran a 1:49.800 this year, so plenty of endurance in his legs. And Lee Marvin Bonavacchia, he is the Dutch record holder, having been part of the Dutch Antilles and then member of the full Dutch team now. So Yusuf Karam in lane 4, the quickest in the field, but watch out for Kamari Montgomery. Moved through from 60 to 100, 200, fast 200-metre man. 400 now, an event which he's very much exploring. 44.23 last year, theoretically coached by Carl Lewis and Leroy Burrell. Been checking up on that a little bit, but if he is, then plenty of speed in that camp. So Montgomery's in 5, Yusuf Karam of Q8 in 4. Montgomery just taking a little while to settle. Cleanly away, Montgomery, as you might expect from a 60-metre man, gets a very, very good start. Has already taken a yard or so from Yusuf Karam in lane 4. Fairly even after that. Rabah Youssef started fast in lane 3 also. So Yusuf chasing down Vaillant of France as well, out there in lane 6. And the two favourites, Karam and Montgomery, with a little bit of work to do, particularly Montgomery, as Karam comes through him at 200 metres. It's all very, very tight. Vaillant, Rabah Youssef in lane 3. And Karam going well, but it may well be Yusuf who could lead this. And now Montgomery starting to come back, and really good bend from Montgomery pushes him into the lead, into the home straight. It's going to be a scrap between the two big names here, or the two expected favourites, but it's going to be the American who's going to come out on top from Karam, and the fast finishing Abbas on the outside. 45.54 the winning time. Well judged by Montgomery, particularly around that top bend there. Didn't panic when Karam had come through quickly. I think Karam had really been pushed through that first 200 by Rabah Youssef starting quickly as well. But Montgomery comes away. That's another good win for him. Good experience at this level. Times might not be too impressive, but as I said, the win is the win.
Well, impressive from Montgomery, wasn't it? And Karem, you rightly pointed out those two as the favourites here. Nothing really to choose between them, but he was on that bend. The bend by Montgomery was the better, and he maintained his line really well. Look at the relatively ragged style in the latter stages from Karem, who's starting to sway all over the place. Much more measured and much more relaxed from Montgomery. Both these athletes coming into this race in great form. That's 3 out of 3 now for Montgomery, one in Hungary and in Italy, and now here in Doha.
Yeah, he's not one of the taller 400-meter runners, is he? But he's got that pace, and it's just about judging the event. He's still developing as a 400-meter runner. He's got huge potential, and season's best for Abbas, finished strongly for the Qatari athlete. Good 3rd place for him. Well, that was our first track event. Only 2 field events. We've got the women's long jump coming up, and first of all, we're going to have a look at the men's pole vault, which should be certainly one of the highlights, as it has been all season long. Those 3 men there, Chris with Sam Kendricks, Renaud Lavillenie, and of course Mondo Duplantis. Remember that garden pole vault which kicked us all off on this athletics, or this crazy athletics season?
Seems a lifetime ago, doesn't it, Steve? Yes. And well, the pole vault season this year, you've got to say, has to be one of the best in recent years, with of course Duplantis with those world records indoors and out. Matt Ludwig then, another American in this high quality field. First attempt at 5:61, no. Bar started at 5:31. We had a couple of failures at that height, actually. Cole Walsh and Thibaut Collet, the Frenchman, both went down at the first attempt at 5:31. The bar now at 5:61. And a bit more work to do there for Matt Ludwig.
Yeah, we've already lost Harry Koppel as well, the British new British record holder. He came in at 5:46, and 3 failures for him. And 1 or 2 others struggling a little bit, but this height, particularly 5:61. What we've noticed is that Chris mentioned the warm, humid conditions, that a few of them have been struggling a little bit with grip. And Ben Broder's here. They're 5:61 for him, having had 2 attempts to get over 5:46. And again, struggling. A new national record in Rome last week. A brilliant performance from him, 5:80. And not quite on that sort of form so far this evening, but 2 more attempts at that height.
Yeah, Broder's in terrific form. Really pleased for him getting that national record finally. He's been knocking on the door for much of the season. But the camaraderie, we saw a great shot, didn't we, there, as we came to the pole vault between Duplantis and Kendricks and Lavillenie. Goodness me, the who's who of pole vaulting in recent years. And we tend to say it every time we cover pole vaulting, but the camaraderie, the atmosphere between competitors is genuine friendship. They're all piled into Sam Kendricks' hotel room, socially distanced, I might add, the other night. Here is Lavillenie then, former Olympic champion. Yes, nice. Fair to say, and I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, not the force he was, and the event, we can talk about that perhaps during the evening, the way the event has moved on, not least through the endeavours of Duplantis, but Lavillenie still competitive, it has to be said, but no longer calling the shots in this event.
No, but I think he's, in our day, we used to have a wonderful guy called John Walker, who was the former Olympic champion and world record holder on the mile, and John was kind of what we called the shop steward, and you know, he was kind of the boss, you know, and I think Lavillenie still is the one who, you know, we've had these great competitions, but Kendricks has played his part in that as well. We just see him at 5:61. Yeah, no problem. Still continues his record of never no heighting in a vault. Wasn't so good in Rome, but yeah, just coming back to that whole thing, these 3, and as I said, others now dipping in and out of that, like Lisek and others, but yeah, you know, these 3 they did kick us off at the start of the year. You know, I think that they took it upon their shoulders to get something going, and you know, hats off to them. And it was in Lavillinie's back garden, wasn't it? Or where they all did a garden thing. Then we had the competition in his back garden as well. So yeah, let's hope the guys can put on a bit of a show for us again tonight.
Well, Kamari Montgomery there just suffering from the heat, perhaps, having come through impressively in that 400 metres. We hope he's okay. Next action on the track then, athletes out for the women's 100 metres, and a rematch here of Cynthia Feely from Great Britain and Peyton Chadwick, who met in Rome last week. In lane 1 from Serbia, 21-year-old Anja Lukic won the national championship title in 13:34, lifetime best. Lane 2, just 18 years old, Zoe Sedney, the Dutch junior champion, was third in the Dutch championships at senior level. She goes in 2. Mette Gravesgaard, the Danish champion, ran an impressive national record in Stockholm a few weeks ago. She's in 3. There is Cynthia Feely, sister of Tiffany Porter, of course. Ran 12:88, her best this season. 4th, remember, in Rio at the last Olympics. There is Peyton Chadwick, who finished just ahead of Feely in Rome last week, despite clipping the first barrier. She's in lane 5. Yannick Thompson, former world youth champion from Jamaica, goes in 6. Semi-finalist here in Doha at those world championships. In 7, instantly recognisable Talia Brooks, multi-eventer, ran 13:05 in Rome from Arkansas. And in lane 8 from Poland, Klaudia Wałtunik, who ran her lifetime best just 10 days ago. So some decent quality. Meeting record held by Jasmine Stowers, 12:35, set 5 years ago, I should say, in 2015. And the fastest time in the world this year, 12:68, Nadine Visser, who's had a terrific season, you have to say. But this you would feel between Cynthia Feely and Peyton Chadwick in lanes 4 and 5 for Feely right of picture. Women's 100 metres hurdles. Little twitch there from Gravesgaard, but not a false start. A great start from Peyton Chadwick, who's starting already to run away. Also going well, Talia Brooks on second left of picture. Brooks and Chadwick going toe-to-toe, but Chadwick coming through. 12:78, the winning time. Terrific, really consistent running from Chadwick. She's got a busy evening ahead because she's also running in the 100 metres flat later on this evening, but she's delighted with that. Season's best for her. A second win in as many races against Cynthia Feely. Brooks coming through from a difficult lane 7 in a lifetime best, and a Feely matching actually exactly the time in Rome, 13:02. But once again, Chadwick out for a flyer and maintain that advantage, Steve.
Yeah, she's pretty tall, but she gets out really well, gets flying out of the blocks, and is a very good technician here. And Chadwick, at this point, this is what she tends to do. But look at Talia Brooks here, new personal best for her, former multi-eventer. She said she's pretty much done with a heptathlon. In fact, I read somewhere where she said she might even finish this year. She'll be in the long jump later on, and as you said, Chadwick in the 100 metres, so the two of them got their evening off to a great start. Now, Feely hitting hurdles still, not really got the rhythm yet, has she? So having to give way to the much smoother Peyton Chadwick. Great win for her. Season's best, personal best for the second, Talia Brooks.
Yeah, US 1-2, and 1 out of 1 for Chadwick, with more to come later on. Cynthia Feely clipping those barriers and costing her a couple of seconds, I'm sure, down in 3rd place.
Yeah, you can see Feely hit a couple earlier on as well, but Chadwick, I think just building confidence as well. And we've talked a lot this year about athletes getting the chance in some of these Diamond Leagues that they might not normally get, but stepping up to the mark, and she's showing the talent that she has. Brooks the same, might not normally get lanes, but managed to get here, and a couple of good wins on the circuit. This is Cole Walsh. Second attempt, the American. Had a few problems earlier on in the year with... oh, he's got it. Yeah, that's a bit better. Looked... well, he couldn't catch the pole. He's better at going over the bar than catching the pole. But anyway, yes. Had to endure a ban earlier in the year. Talked about that early in the season when he said he'd eaten a bar, and which had the same sort of ingredients that cannabis had. So he had to attend a marijuana awareness course. Come through all of that. He's moved back. Used to be up at Oregon, moved back home now, and all through lockdown he was training managing to get some vaulting done, we said, which helped him decide to come and compete. So clear, 5.61.
Matt Ludwig then, one of 3 Americans in the field. Second attempt for him at 5.61. US indoor champion, former collegiate champion as well. Second attempt then at 5.61. That's nice. Yeah, he likes that.
That in the background, Chris, is Sam. Have you heard the holler every time somebody goes?
He's right in there, isn't he?
The single spectator. Yeah, and that's good. You know, it just gives that little bit of. It's not encouragement as such, but you know, you're going over in a successful pass at that height, and Sam's there giving you the yippee.
Because he cares. He really does genuinely care about his sport and his fellow competitors.
Well, as we said, no spectators, but pictures going all around the world. The call room, it's the only call room I know that I've been at any stadium which has a beautiful carpet in place. And we're really looking forward to so many good events. The hurdles, will be high hurdles for men shortly. We've got 1,500 coming up. A couple of excellent 800-meter races as well. The Elaine Thompson-Hera in the 100 meters. And the women's long jump about to get underway.
Eva Basmayer, yep, women's long jump. Only one woman has gone over 7 meters so far this season. Malaika Miambo from Germany, the European champion. She's not here, but plenty of talent. And as we mentioned, we've got a final 3. So first 5 rounds as normal, and then the best 3 will earn the right, if you like, for a 6th round, and we'll jump in reverse order. We'll keep you up to date if you're new to that, but it has been trialled a couple of times already this year, including in Stockholm. So Basmayer then, first round. Pretty generous on the board. A little bit ragged in technique from Basmayer. Gets the white flag. 25 years old, only 4th in the Dutch Championships last month. It's a season's best of 6.21. That didn't look too far off it. 6.17, yeah, just shy of her season's best. A nice loosened opener for Eva Basmayer.
Veteran of the field, former Cuban. Ariadnes Aguiles from Portugal. 36 now, and season's best at 6.31, which was set in Spain just recently. 6.70 at a best, a good few years, well, not that many years ago, 5 years ago. All precautions being taken, everything, all equipment cleaned and areas cleaned between jumps. Just a thing to mention as well, if you do see any athletes maybe congratulating each other afterwards and all the rest of it, every single athlete and everybody involved in the meet has been tested at least once this week, some twice. The event bubble has been maintained over the last 3-4 days. No jump, no, just running through.
Yeah, you're right, Steve, and nobody has tested positive, which is great news, and some of these athletes have been together now for quite a few days.
Yeah, we're going to see Conselsus Kipruto, the Olympic steeplechase champion, coming up in the 1,500 meters shortly. He was meant to run in Monaco, wasn't he, earlier in the year, tested positive, so he'll be pleased that he's able to run tonight. We're seeing him shortly. That was measured, 4.93. And the 1,500 meter runners over on the far side, already out there. So 1 or 2 intriguing names, as I said, Wilson Kipruto in there, and the pace on the outside is they've been asked for a pretty decent pace, 1:52 for Garcia, and then Kiprona hopefully take them on another lap or so. There for me is the pre-race favourite. What a season Stuart McSwain of Australia is having. running personal best. What a race in Rome over 3,000 metres the other night. Kip Limo coming out on top with Ingebrigtsen and McSwain close by. US-based Brits, James West in there, and then Solomon Barega coming down to 1,500 metres, ran a personal best recently at this distance. I mentioned Kipruto. Gregson is still the Australian record holder, but will he lose it here tonight to McSwain? Jesus Gomez, 2 Spaniards in here who've made big jumps forward. The 29-year-old net down to 3:33. Fontes there is not 6 seconds off his best this year. Another young Brit, Copeland, who's having a very good season, improving all the time. And Bethel Bergen, who knows this track very well indeed, has run very fast, the Kenyan. First time we've seen him this year. Kibet, also a great experience. Quite a lot of the Kenyan athletes, this is their first race of the year. As late as it is, it's the first opportunity they've had to come out and race, so it'll be interesting to see what happens, including Consulsus Kipruto. Not his event, of course. Steeplechase normally his event, and 1 or 2 others in here, including El Bakali, the tall figure right in the middle of the Moroccan, you'll recognise. But it's McSwain, I think, who will be the favourite. This pace has been asked for is going to be pretty quick. We'll test some of those for whom this is not their speciality event, like Barega, like El Bakali, like Kipruto, and McSwain, who likes, you know, he's very, well, I would say, you know, he just gives it a go, doesn't he? He doesn't care about, will I be able to stay with it or not? He knows he's in great shape, and already he's after the pacemakers. Bergen and Quebec realising the danger and trying to get as close as they can as they come through the first 300 metres, and a very swift 40 at the front, 41.42 for McSwain.
Yeah, he's in a rich vein of form, isn't he? Having a terrific season. That Australian record, by the way, held by Ryan Gregson, 3:31.06, just to mark your card. But yeah, McSwain taking closer order and hugging on the coattails of the pacemakers. 54.05, that's a little bit quicker than the 56 that was probably required, so yeah, it's lively.
Driouche leading the pack, and Bergen and Quebec very, very close. But look at that lead there. That is McSwain saying, this is my attempt to go out. I mentioned that Australian record, he was very close to it. It's 3:31.06. Gregson further back in the field is the Australian record holder, but Bergen is holding up the rest of the field. You know, Bergen hasn't been racing, and somebody back there has got to either go around him, because they are going to just watch McSwain disappear. And as I say that, looks like one of the Spaniards is moving up, and El Bakali is moving up as well.
Yeah, Gomez, I think, there, who's just trying to lead the pack, and there's a bit of a logjam, as you mentioned there, with Bergen just holding everybody up. A lot of rust, perhaps, in some of these Kenyan legs, having not raced at all this season.
McSwain out in front then. The Australian setting his stall out. Bergen still leading the pack, but that's about a 25-metre lead. You just don't really see this in 1,500-metre running. He's only got 550 metres to go. McSwain still looks good. He's hoping that Kiprono can keep going a little bit further. The charge will come afterwards. It's El Bakali who's leading the pack at the moment, which is unusual to see. But it's McSwain who's come round to take the bell. James West has moved into second place. Bergen now trying to move out around the Moroccan, but they're miles behind McSwain, who takes the bell.
Well, 400 to go. McSwain has got this wrapped up. It's a question now of how close he can get to that Australian record. He'll know exactly what he needs to do. Reminder, 3:31.06, held by Ryan Gregson, who's further back in the same race.
Yeah, the pace had dropped a bit. He knows that. He's going to give it a go here, but 2:49, he's going to have to find a cracking last 300 metres to get close to that. Certainly possible, though, the way he's been running. He doesn't have great pace, but he's so strong. Once he gets into his top running, he can maintain it really well. He's miles ahead of everybody else, just starting to tire a little bit as he comes around with 150 to go. The chasers on behind. Looks like Barega chasing down, but look at McSwain. He's taken it to everybody else, said, right, try and stay with me. They weren't able to. Gritting his teeth, fighting for this. Can he get close to the Australian record? He's not going to be too far away. A few yards to go. McSwain is going to take the win, and he's done it. 3:30.52. What a last 300 metres. Barega led the charge, but McSwain, all of the plaudits go to him. He's done it all by himself. That is yet another Australian record. And by the way, he's the 10,000-metre record holder for Australia as well. So from 1,500 metres indoors, outdoors now, 3,000 metres, and also 10,000 metres. What a year this man has had. He hasn't done all of those records this year. I think he's done 2 or 3 of them, certainly. So McSwain wins from Borrega with a big new personal best, the 5,000 metre man, dropping down into the under 3:33s. But this is what I love, Chris. He completely and totally commits and says, right, if I want to run fast, I'm going to have to make it happen. I'm not going to rely on anyone else. I'm not going to wait, not going to hang around. Went with the pace, and then he took it on, and he's been rewarded with a brilliant time.
And rightly so. Second Australian record in 9 days. It's absolutely outstanding. And look at that, the margin of victory there, what, 25 metres plus, with Borrega coming through for a personal best. Terrific, really courageous run there from McSwain. Absolutely right, set his stall out right from the beginning, knew exactly what he needed to do, almost disregarded the rest of the field. There were no tactics involved, it was just him against the clock, and he's got his just reward.
Personal best for James West in 5th behind him, quite a few, in fact all of the top 5 running personal bests in that race. The others did it in a different way. He really had to find a big last 300, and he did it in fine style. 3:30.51, the new Australian record.
Well, back to this pole vault, the bar now at 5:71. Renaud Lavillenie, the Olympic champion, of course, from London in 2012, 34 years old now. The shop steward, as Steve calls him. Oh, no. Thought he got that. He got the height, didn't he? Even he looked a little bit perplexed by that, but just caught it on the way down. 7 times a Diamond Trophy winner. But a first failure at 5:71 for the little Frenchman.
Waiting for the latest mark of Romanchuk, but it's a foul. So the Ukrainian will stay in 3rd place. 6:85 leads the
broke his thumb earlier in the season, you may remember,
the bar is at
after that garden challenge, and was heavily strapped. It's got rid of his bandaging now, but it did, there's no doubt about it, it did affect his season, as well as obviously the pandemic that's affected everybody. But he's come back well as Lavillenie. But 5:71, he'll be disappointed with that first-time failure.
So Sam Kendricks and his turn. If Sam clears it, I'm not sure if anyone else cheers for him. He's a cheerleader when Sam's not doing it. As I said, he came in early. It is a remarkable record that he's gone, I don't even know how many competitions it is now, but it's a good few years without ever no heighting. But he does come in early, and he contests every height. He likes to vault, obviously. He's not one of those who, you know, maybe gets a sighter early, then sits it out for a bit, as Duplantis does. Sam's always liked to go through the various heights, and so here, first attempt at 5:71 for the world champion, 2-time world champion. Just was holding his hip a little earlier on. Yeah, I just thought in Rome he wasn't running smoothly, and I don't know whether he's carrying a bit of a problem or not. And yeah, you don't often see Sam looking a little bit down. Normally full of smiles, isn't he?
He is. Forever smiling, but he's had you have to be honest, he's had a mixed season, hasn't he? He jumped that 6:02 in Lausanne, that wonderful evening in Lausanne with Duplantis, but he's had a few mediocre competitions as well this year. Not up to his usual standard. He is, it's worth pointing out, the last man to have beaten Mondo Duplantis in a competition. That was at the Worlds last year here in Doha.
Well, there he is, first sight. First sight of the Mondo. 5:71 the bar, which we're hoping for another big night. He had a great night in Rome again last week, and it's remarkable the level of consistency he's had all season, given how many vaulting competitions there've been. Here he goes again. Yes.
Yes, indeed.
He just does make it look so easy, and this year, I think it's just set him up, hasn't it? For we haven't had the Olympics and half the things that were supposed to happen this year, but he knows now, doesn't he? He really knows. Whatever he wants to do, he can. Whatever height, he knows it's there. Whereas, as you said, even the likes of Kendricks, who's as good as he is, knows that it's not there every night. You know, he's got it in him to vault 6 meters, but often it's not quite as good as that. Whereas this man, you just feel every single competition now he knows he can go over +6.
Brümer then, back in the long jump, first round. That's around the 650 mark for Ese Brümer from Nigeria. Personal best of 7:05. She was bronze medalist, of course, here in this city last year. She's the All-African Games champion as well. And it's her first outdoor competition of the season. That's, yeah, that was 650, 660. 664 just coming up on our screen, so a good opener there for Ese Brümer. A season's best, by definition.
Bekremanchuk, and again another who's enjoying this season. We're going to see the final 3, which we'll explain more if you're not sure what it is. So the first 5 rounds determine who gets into the final 3, and then when we had that competition in the Stockholm Diamond League, she wasn't in the lead going into the final 3, and then came out with the best jump and won the competition. So it looks like a decent start for her, the Ukrainian. I think, you know, she ran a personal best 60 meters early in the season. She's got a bit of strapping around her knee here, but, you know, just that little bit of extra pace perhaps this year. And been certainly over the last 2 seasons had big improvements. The 25-year-old is after a silver medal last year at the Worlds in Doha, so she'll have fond memories of the city. So 6:55 for Bekremanchuk in the first round.
Next race on the track then, the men's 110 metres hurdles, an event that this year, it's fair to say, has been dominated by Europeans, with the 3 fastest times in the world through Ortega, Pozzi and Bolossian, the latter of whom is here in Doha. David King then from Great Britain, the British champion, won in Manchester 3 weeks ago, goes in lane 1. Freddie Crittenden is a non-starter actually in lane 2, so we've lost Freddie Crittenden from the USA. There is Jason Joseph, the reigning European under-23 champion, Swiss champion and record holder. He goes in 3. Aaron Marrett from the USA, the US indoor champion over 60 metres, ran a super PB in Rome just behind Andy Pozzi. He goes in 4. There is Bolossian, French national title holder from Albi. Also ran a personal best in Monaco. He's the 3rd fastest in the world this year. Cameron Fillery, 2nd British athlete in the race, goes in 6, 2nd in those British Championships in Manchester. In 7, the South American and champion and record holder from Brazil, Gabriel Constantino. And in lane 8, 33 years old now, 3 times Italian champion Paolo Del Molin. So disappointing late withdrawal for Crittenden. We didn't get news of that before coming on air, so we'll try and find out what happened to him. But that opens the field, I would suggest, for the likes of Mallet and Bolossian even more. Mallet goes in 4, Bolossian, the Frenchman, in 5. Meeting record 12.95 held by David Oliver since 2008, so that's long overdue, but that would go some to challenge that this evening, I would suggest. Fastest time in the world this year, 13:11 from Orlando Ortega. So Mallet, USA in 4, Bolossian, France in 5. Well, I was going to say away cleanly, but not at all. Anything strike you there, Steve?
I'm going to lie and say yes, but it's only because I've looked at the computer, and I think in lane 8, because I was looking at the other lanes, to be honest, and I think lane 8, Del Molin, let's just see if we can see it here. There you go.
Oh, yeah, well spotted. Yep. 33 years old. I'm not suggesting that's the reason for it, but he should know better, shouldn't he?
Just getting a message through that Freddie Crittenden has been injured in warm-up, so very late withdrawal, sadly, for the American, who would have definitely figured here. So sadly got injured in warming up just literally a few minutes ago.
Oh, that's really bad news and disappointing for him. Travel all this way. So Dalmolin is out of the race in a very different way. Closest to picture there. So a field of 8 is now a field of 6 with a couple of gaps. So King in 1 from Great Britain, Joseph from Switzerland in 3, Mallet, USA in 4, Bolossian, the Frenchman, look out for him in 5, Fillory, Great Britain in 6, Constantino, the South American champion there in 7. Last time a European won this race in Doha, Diamond League, was 2005. Oliars from Latvia. Once again, goodness me, have we got a hypersensitive starting gun here, or has somebody else transgressed? Over to you, Mr. Bright Eyes.
Right in the middle. Is it the French favourite here? You know, the athletes who thought could win this are fast disappearing.
Have you got your shoes with you, Steve?
Bolossian. Ooh, that's tight, isn't it? Is it him? Hard to say.
Well, the first one was easy, wasn't it? That's much harder to call.
Yeah, he wants to go and have a look. Yeah. The cameras are on him because of what's come out, I think, on the printout, but no, he hasn't been shown have you seen him being shown a card yet?
No, no.
Well, sadly for him, that looks like a false start, which it's really hard to argue against the machinery. There you can see it there, 0.089 in lane 5.
Yeah, reaction time, but
I did not start this race. We now have
Yeah, 0.1, of course, the permitted legal reaction time, and he's comfortably within that. And, well, disappointment for Bolossian. Let's have a look again.
Oh, you've got to feel for a minute. Fly all the way to Doha. You've got to get there 4 days early, 3 days in your hotel room. Can't go anywhere. Getting ready for the competition. He's in reasonable form. False start.
Goodness me. Well, that is deeply, deeply frustrating, to put it mildly. Yeah, don't adjust your sets, folks at home. It is live. It's a 110 metres hurdles, but we're down to 5 athletes from 8. So we've lost Crittenden to injury, and we've lost Dalmolin and now Bolossian to false starts, sadly. So surely now this opens the door for Aaron Mallet there from the USA in lane 4. Men's 110 metres hurdles. This time we're away, third time lucky. Mallet gets a good start. Also going well is Constantino, left of picture, but Mallet centre of picture now should have the field to himself. Really crisp hurdling here. Constantino, well, he was going well, but he's now faltered. 13.15 is a terrific time there from Mallet. After all the drama, a slight tailwind there, but 13.15 is the 3rd fastest time in the world this year. Terrific, and it's a big personal best as well for Mallet, and well may he celebrate. Well, 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 to produce that, Steve, without your main competitors, with all due respect to the others in the field, is an impressive performance.
That's maybe why it happened, though. You know, sometimes when you just you lose the favourite, you know, 2 favourites have gone. You run. That was the second flight that he just clipped there. But after that, this is pretty perfect. And you know, you start to get a bit more relaxed. Just hits that one there. But you know, you're running free. And look at him. I don't think he thought he'd run that fast. And sometimes that's what happens with athletes. He didn't even look at the clock. You know, when you're thinking, oh, I'm going here. I'm chance of personal best. You look at the clock. But watch this when he crosses the line. He's just running freely, flowing. Yeah, he does give it a little glance, doesn't he? But that's him celebrating the win. He wasn't coming here expecting to win, I doubt. And he's suddenly thrown into the forefront of the event, runs with almost carefree abandon, I guess, and is rewarded with a big personal best.
Yeah, David King coming through to take 3rd place. He'll be delighted with that. Right of picture. But yeah, Mallet just clipping that penultimate barrier. But I think you're right, Steve. Just running with a complete freedom. Almost those any nerves had probably just floated away as he saw his main competitors depart the stage. terrific. 13.15, big PB.
So back with the pole vaults. We're still at 5.71, but just sorting things out a little bit now, as we're going to see Matt Ludwig with his third attempt. We saw Duplantis go clear earlier, and going to catch up with a few of the others. And Ludwig here, just the first at his third attempt. 24-year-old, former NCAA champion. Powerfully built. Oh, I was just about to say, that's better, much better plant. And up he goes and over, shaking the head as if to say, why on earth didn't I do that before? But he's clear, puts him in a pretty good position in this competition where others have been faltering. So he's moved up. Others yet to take their third attempt at 5.71, but he's in third place there with Duplantis and Kendricks ahead. Nicely done. So Ludwig over, and now Ben Broders. He took 3 attempts to get over 5.61. Chris, can he do it this time at 5.71?
Yeah, pressure on for a man who's having a fine season, as we mentioned, the Belgian champion and now national record holder. Last chance saloon then at 5.71. Yes, brilliant. Well, thriving on the pressure. 5.76 his personal best, and sorry, 5.80 I should say, which he jumped in Rome, of course, last week. That lifetime best, finally getting that that Belgian record. And well, he's doing it the hard way here, isn't he, in Doha?
He's got a nice rhythm to his vaulting, Broder. When he gets it right, Broders can just it's all nicely timed and unhurried and unfussy at the top. But Broders then clear. Let's move to the long jump then. Sanya, which first time we've seen her in this women's long jump. And she was the one I was talking about, the competition in Stockholm in front of a home crowd. She was leading as she went into the final 3 and then missed out as Becca Romanchuk went further. So she'll want to set a stall out here. And that's a pretty good first round effort, isn't it? Or first effort for her, because Sanya has been in such good form all season. 6.92 in Zagreb, which is even further than she's jumped indoors, which she did in Glasgow back in 2018. And has only been defeated once this year, which is actually in that Stockholm competition, where she still jumped very, very well indeed. But that sets the stall out here. Just to keep explaining, when they get to the final 3, it doesn't matter how far you jumped in the first 5 rounds. So 6.85 will certainly, the first thing to do is to get into the final 3, and then the last jump will determine who actually wins the competition. But sitting in a good position now.
Esse Bruma then, with her third round jump. 6.61 and 6.64, her first 2 efforts, lying in third place. The Nigerian. Good speed on the runway, but no improvement, I suggest, on the opening 2. It is legitimate. Bronze medalist in this city. Not the same stadium, just to remind you. We're not in the Khalifa International Stadium where the World Championships took place almost exactly a year ago. We're just a few clicks down closer in town, near the Corniche, for those of you who know Doha.
That's a great line, that, Chris. For those of you who know Doha.
Well, I know we've got a very, very international audience, Steve. Come on, well-travelled.
So top 3 as expected in that long jump so far. And now, Chris, we move to the women's 800.
Yes, an event dominated here, in particular in Doha, by Caster Semenya, who's won the last 3 meetings here. But we mentioned the world is a very different place in terms of the COVID pandemic, and it is in this event as well, because Caster Semenya has moved on, as we could say, and it's opened the door for all sorts of other people, and we've got 1 or 2 people dropping down a distance here. I'll take you through the main names. Chichocka, who's 32 years old now, from Poland. But Winnie Nanyondo there, who was 4th in this event at those World Championships last year, just outside the medals. Nakai, remember, fellow Ugandan, took the gold medal somewhat surprisingly. She's in 6. Kayla Edwards, who's having a terrific 2020. She's had a great last couple of years, based in Boulder, Colorado. Just outside 2 minutes in Rome last time out. Now, Faith Kipyegon, who's having a wonderful season. This is not her event. It's her first 800 metres for 5 years, but she's looking to make it 4 out of 4 in 2020. Had a couple of attempts at the 1,000-metre world record. Came very close in Monaco. She goes in 5. Alamu from Ethiopia. We've got a former world champion there in Eunice Sum, who's 32 years old now, and a couple of British athletes, Adele Tracy and Shalena Oskin-Clark as well, who's on the inside there. So decent quality here in this women's 800 metres. But Faith Kipyegon there in lane 6, along with Kayla Edwards, with a great chance, Winnie Nanyondo. So Kipyegon in 5, Edwards 6, Nanyondo in 7. Well, they've asked for 57.50 through the first lap. And this is a quick track. And the question really is, Faith Kipyegon, unaccustomed to running this event. Pacemaker, incidentally, is Emily Tue from Kenya, the 34-year-old who'll just come across. But Kipyegon there, who's the Olympic champion, of course, at 1,500 metres and reigns supreme over that distance from 2016 and 17, and the pacemaker has gone off like an absolute rocket here, and nobody seems interested in keeping with her. 57.50, remember, is the target for the first lap.
Yeah, it's a shame. It doesn't look too quick, and if you remember what happened in Rome, wasn't it, when they did all sit back? Edwards was the one who eventually took it on, but it's Guerrero who's leading the pack at the moment. But it makes for a really good competitive race, because it's really hard to pick out, your sort of pre-race favourite here. But look at Kipyegon, happy in the pack. Well, 57.72, it's not too bad, is it, in terms of what the race required? But Guerrero there is stretching it out. Eunice Sum, the former world champion, in 2nd place, and Edwards, who's having a fine season there, Kayla Edwards, looking to become the first American this season to go under 2 minutes. She's just outside, but Kipyegon there has had a lot of racing in her legs. She went back to Kenya after Monaco when she just missed out on that world record and sharpened up, did some more speed work, and came back and had another go in Brussels. Wasn't quite as competitive there, but now Kipyegon. And it's Eunice Sum. But it is Kipyegon. Kipyegon there, now starting to pull away in this 2nd lap. Pulling away, Guerrero, Alumu as well, moving up into 2nd to 3rd place. Guerrero starting to tire, but Kipyegon, let's keep an eye on the clock here. Well, 1:57.69. It's the fastest time in the world this year. Goodness me, Guerrero, can't believe her time as well. We're just waiting for confirmation of that. But Kipyegon, well, better known, of course, as a 1,500-metre runner. She is the Olympic champion, of course, but she is delighted with that. An 800-metre success here. It's the fastest time in the world, comfortably. And Steve, for me, it just raises the question, and it did come up in the press conference, what chance in Tokyo next year of Faith Kipyegon considering an 800, 1,500-metre double? Certainly. She could probably even do longer distances if she wanted to, I'm pretty sure. But I've been really impressed with her this year. I think she's going to attempt a fast 1,000 metres maybe in 10 days' time or so as well. So, but I just love the way she controlled this. If you watch, it was a typical 1,500 metres running at an 800, 1,500-metre runner in an 800, where the first 200 she sat off, gradually moved through at the bell, she got herself into a better position, and then as the race developed, she then took it on with her strength, and look how good she was over the last 200, and rewarded with a fast time as well. Guerrero is very, very happy to have gone under 2 minutes with a personal best. Adele Tracy, good performance from her in 3rd place as well. But let's hand it to Guerrero. She took it on. She was the one who kept them moving at a pretty good pace. But Faith Kipyegon, superbly impressive. Won't it be interesting to see if Timothy Cheruiyot can do the same in the men's equivalent coming up shortly? Yeah, 1:57.68, comfortably the best time in the world this year, beating the mark set by Hedda Hühner recently. Guerrero with that personal best. And Adele Tracy, as you say, coming home also in under 2 minutes. So a fast race there
Kip Yegon, though, just showing her versatility.
She's just flowing, isn't she? You know, she comes down that home straight, full of running, as you'd expect. You know, the endurance is there. She's not going to tie up in the home straight in an 800 meters, but full of pace as well. So the program is, you know, it's a tough one, that, isn't it? You know, the 1500 towards the end. Do you want to risk your main event? I suspect she'll want to come back and concentrate on the 1500 next year.
Well,
nice to have options, though.
It is good to have two options, yeah. And maybe another attempt at the 1,000 meters in a week or so's time.
So Bekramanchuk, the three top athletes already well to the fore, Sanya, Brume and Bekramanchuk, as expected. We saw Sanya with a lead of 6.85 in the second round. Hardly any wind in the stadium at all. It's a stadium which has produced some brilliant jumping over the years. I remember being here, that incredible triple jump competition a few years back. And Romanchuk stretching out there. Did she get the white flag? Yes, she did. Right on the board, very good on the board. A little shake of the head then. And Bekramanchuk not quite finding the distances here that she wants to. But will she do what she did in Stockholm? Gets into the final three, and we wipe the slate clean then. They get one more jump. The top three athletes at that point in the competition, they get one more jump. Winner takes all. And in Stockholm, she produced the best jump of the competition in that final round. So 6.67, stays in third.
Brume then, lying in second. Good couple of opening efforts at 6.61 and 6.64. Trying to generate some atmosphere. We have got through technology some crowd noise, and once again you can see the fellow competitors also contributing. Bekramanchuk there, urging on Brume there. So here she goes, the Nigerian. Oh, that's better. That's really nice. Round 4 here, and that looks to be closer to 6.70. Not enough to threaten Sanya, who's way out in front on 6.85, but just to reiterate what Steve was saying, the goal here, the immediate goal, is to finish in the top 3 in these first 5 rounds and earn the right to have an extra 6th jump.
This young lady's a real talent, you know. She won the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow when she was 18, and you know, that really pushed her forward. She's had a few problems since then, but the last year or so really doing well. And hasn't had too many Diamond League competitions. Went to US, as many of the Nigerian athletes do, and is really developing well now. So Bekramanchuk. It's interesting, isn't it? We keep talking about these distances as though there's something great in between 6.67 and 6.85. When you'll see on that graphic on the sand where it says the top 3, it's less than 20 centimeters. And when you see it there on the sand, that very narrow band between first and third. But quite a gap, to be honest, between these 3 and the rest of the field. I thought Talia Brooks might have got in amongst it, but Talia Brooks, after a personal best in the 100 hurdles, maybe a little tired. And talking of which, Cindy Feely, who ran in that 100 hurdles, and also Peyton Chadwick, who's in lane 8, in this one. Cindy Feely, because we had a late withdrawal, Leah Hobbs has had to pull out, and Feely, a late replacement for her. So she'll be right in the middle in lane 5. She might not appreciate that, but never mind. So right on the inside in lane 1, the incredibly exciting talent from Great Britain, Amy Hunt, just 18 years of age, European Junior Champion 200, definitely her best event, but using this year as well to get some much valuable experience on the circuit in. Crystal Awuha, who finished just ahead of Amy Hunt in the British Championships, 2 of them beaten by Imani Lansiko in the 100 metres on that occasion. Kayla White of the USA, 2 times under 11 seconds last year. Not yet as quick this year, but 11.19. Talking about quick though, what a run in Rome from Elaine Thompson-Hera, the double Olympic champion, really looking back to her best now. Got married last November, hence the hyphenated name. So Elaine Thompson-Hira. And Cindy Feely stepping in for the injured Hobbs in lane 5. Now, Toulouse certainly started the season looking a little rusty, the World Championship silver medalist a couple of years back, and she, bronze medalist, of course, here in Doha last year, but definitely getting back to that sort of form. Antonique Strawn, a former junior sort of protege, been around, she's 27 now, goodness me. And then Peyton Chadwick, as we said, very, very good performance in the 100 hurdles about 40 minutes ago.
This is the women's 100 meters at the Wanda Diamond League.
Well, all those injury problems that Thompson-Hira's had, calf, Achilles, etc., hopefully behind her now. Came over for Rome after having run some races back home. Rome and Doha Diamond Leagues, and that run in Rome just so far ahead of everybody else. So quick. 10.85. Actually, Hobbs, who's not here, was second in that race, but so far behind. So Talu, Feely in between the two. Talu in lane 6. Women's 100 meters.
Set.
Decent start from Thompson-Hira, also going well, Kayla White alongside her, but it's Thompson-Hira is already beginning to move away. Talu never got going out of the blocks, which is unusual. It's all about Thompson-Hira. What's the clock say? 10.86, 100th difference. Let's see if it gets rounded down, but Thompson-Hira, well, it's actually gone the other way, 10.87. Nonetheless, another stunning performance. Not maybe quite as good out of the blocks today, but I thought the race, the rest of her race, again, just looks so smooth at the moment. Running very, very strongly. Talu took second place, but yards behind. Talu did not get away quickly at all this evening.
Well, it was almost a race within a race, wasn't it? Thompson-Hira brilliantly out of the blocks, and well, Cindy Feely there really feeling the step up in level. Talu a distant second, really. You look at the difference in time, 10.87, 11.21 between first and second, but those Achilles problems that you mentioned certainly seem to be behind her now. It really did hamper most of 2019 for Elaine Thompson, as she was then. But signs that she's getting back to her best here ahead of Tokyo next year.
Yeah, not happy memories last year at the Worlds, was it? Missed out, of course, on any medal, pulled up injured, didn't go through the rounds in the 200. And now, though, looking really, really strong. Look how she drives through here. Yeah, that's beginning to look like the old Elaine Thompson, isn't it? And, well, watch out, everybody. We've seen some really fast sprinting from the women. We haven't seen too much of them, but when they have run, Thompson-Hira, Fraser Price, Shikari Richardson, Miller Weibo.
That's okay. Yeah.
Women's 3,000. Two of the Australians there, Jess Hull. He'll be going for the Australian record, I'm sure. That's still held by Benita Willis from 2003, incidentally, and helping Genevieve Gregson with a number. Kip Kemboy, first time we've seen her since the Worlds last year.
Sam Kendricks then, first attempt at 5.82 for the reigning world champion. Oh no. Well, he's missing some of these first-time clearances, and they could come back to bite him regardless of, well, Duplantis could well be in a league of his own. But it's further evidence of this mixed season that Kendricks is having. And I think you're right, Steve, whereas you would put your mortgage on Duplantis just rattling through these relatively achievable heights with some confidence, and you can't do that. You wouldn't have the confidence to do that even with the likes of Sam Kendricks, even at the height of 5.82. This is a man, don't forget, who's jumped 6.02 this season.
I mentioned it earlier, Chris, and I'm not quite sure why, but you know, it is a little bit humid. It's certainly very warm. And although these athletes compete in all sorts of conditions all around the world, and just wondering whether one or two, we've seen a few of them sort of holding their hands up, but Duplantis, no problems for him so far. Yeah, nicely done. There's Sam in the background. But, you know, he's just doesn't have to exert himself in any way in the early vaults, in the sense that he's just so full of confidence that as long as he gets his approach right and goes through the checks that he has to, the end result is almost inevitable at these early heights. I say early heights for him.
Yeah, that equal meeting record held by Konstantinos Philippidis has stood since 2013. That's now been matched by Duplantis.
So he's the only one not struggling. We'll be seeing the 800 meters very, very shortly, as the skies certainly turn completely dark now, and that's drops the temperature always when the sun disappears in Doha, but it's still very warm indeed, and able to keep a good grip on the pole, important. And you can see there Matt Ludwig just rehearsing top end for him. Now we've got just these 5 men left: Broders, Ludwig, Lavillenie and Kendricks, but all 3 of them, sorry, 4, bad maths, are now on their 3rd attempt here. A couple of steeplechasers in it as well, of course, Chepkoech and Kieng. Tirop, who picked up a medal here last year in the World Championships. Helen Obiri, of course, the world champion. All of them set to go in a pretty stacked 3,000 meters. Here's Ludwig then, 3rd attempt, 5:82. Only Duplantis is clear. That's not a bad effort there. That's the end of his competition. A little round of applause. But Matt Ludwig out, but he's set at the moment to finish 4th place based on their countback, and if none of the other guys go clear.
Next to go will be Ben Broders attempting that new lifetime best of 5 meters 82.
Well, this is Chris. I mean, we talk about how easy it is for Duplantis. We shouldn't forget, this is on the edge for the other guys. This is, they're going for personal bests and season's best, right? You're right at the top end of what they're capable of.
Which just goes to show the point we were making before, how much the event has moved on, and largely it's because Duplantis himself has moved it on. And I noticed just a couple of days ago, Sergei Bubka was asked how high can he go, and he was saying, well, 6:20, 6:25, he could do it now. I mean, that was a pretty bold prediction from Bubka. Here is Broders with his last attempt at 5:82. He's just seen Matt Ludwig depart. Well, this would be a lifetime best, 5:80, national record, jumped in Rome. .25 years old. 3rd attempt then for Broders. No, the least convincing of all, not to be, but hopefully won't take the shine off what has been an excellent season for the Belgian. Really kicked on since making the final here in Doha last year. Shouldn't forget that some of these poles are, for people not familiar with pole vaulting, vary in the men's event between just over 3 meters and over 5 meters. That's 17 feet. Quite astonishing.
Well, we're getting closer towards what would be eventually be the final 3, if you like. So it's interesting, isn't it? So here's one, we've talked a lot and there's a lot of debate, and if this is new to you, that the athletes are still getting their head around how this will work, and I'll explain a little bit more when we get to the final 3, where everything else will stop for 6 minutes and we'll have just the last 3, the top 3 athletes with 1 jump to determine the result. What it essentially means is, though, these jumps, they know they're in the top 3, these 3, not the highest level of competition for some of the other athletes in this. So the best 3 are already in the top 3 positions, if you like. Oh, that looked to me like might be a red this time. No. Well, she's certainly hitting the board well. You can't say that about Beck Romanchuk. But the point I was making is whether it's worth them having this the incentive to go even further in round 5, for instance, when they know they've already qualified.
Yeah, it's a good point, actually. It could, in some cases, almost make the 5th round redundant if you already know you're in there.
Well, she's certainly getting better, and that's a big improvement, well, a reasonable improvement, 6.79. So as far as the overall competition at this point, that would put her into second. Laura Waitman leading a group of British athletes as well in the 3,000 metres. But first, it'll be the men's 800 metres.
Yeah, great women's 800 metres a few minutes ago. Can the men follow suit? And, well, Timothy Cheruiyot, best known again, of course, at 1,500 metres, a bit like Faith Kipyegon is going in this one. He says to test his speed endurance, wants to sharpen up. He will be a tough act to follow, but again, he's not run many 800 metres. It's his first for over a year. Let's just take you through some of the other runners and riders. There is Diariba from Spain, the European indoor champion. There is Cheruiyot stepping down. Unbeaten, 9 races. This a wonderful city for him. He won the world title here a year ago. There is the Australian ball and Wesley Vasquez, who likes to go out hard. Ferguson Rotich, who took bronze in those world championships. He goes in 5 and will be a stiff test, I suggest, for Timothy Cheruiyot. An 800-metre specialist, of course, so Rotich, who's been in good form as well. And there is Bryce Hoppel, who was just outside the medals, a brilliant 4th at the World Champs a year ago, collegiate champion, and the 2nd fastest in the world this year, only behind Donovan Brazier, his teammate. A couple of British athletes as well, Elliot Giles and Guy Learmonth. Learmonth, the British indoor champion, they go in lane 3. Nice of them to share a lane together. Kinyamal, who likes to go out hard, the Commonwealth Games champion, and Sawinski, the American, 30 years old now, on the inside. But Cheruiyot in lane 7, that 3rd right of picture, with a good opportunity here to make a mark. And, well, victory would be sweet for him. And he's got another incentive, which I'll explain to you in just a moment. Men's 800 metres. Well, the extra incentive for Cheruiyot is a target of 143. His personal best at 800 metres is 143.11. If he were to get under 143, he would join an exclusive club of people to go under 143 and 330 for 1,500 metres. There are only 4 members of that club. Vasquez, we mentioned, likes to go out hard. Giles there as well, Rotich, and then Hoppel with that wonderful, smooth style. But it's Giles, incidentally, aiming to go through the first 400 metres in 49.50. So we'll keep an eye on that. But Giles and Rotich now just coming to take closer order, and Cheruiyot with that instantly recognisable forward-leaning style, just having to go a little bit wider to get out of a bit of traffic there. But the pacemaking duties by Joseph Deng. And, well, just outside, a bit slower, so I think that 143, Steve, is possibly looking a little unlikely.
Yeah, all sitting of it. Well done, Elliot Giles, for at least bridging the gap, and Rotich is now moving up. But as you said, Cheruiyot really maybe finding it a little bit quick, and the front runners like Vasquez haven't taken it on. I was interested to watch Hoppel's tactics as well. I'm a big fan of his, but this is anyone's. Anyone can win this.
Yeah, 2:50 to go. Rotich then, the 800-metre specialist, leading it out. Giles still in 2nd place, and Cheruiyot really well treading treacle and going backwards here. So Cheruiyot, I think, is out of the picture. But Ferguson Rotich has won his last 4 races, piling on the pressure. Elliot Giles will be delighted with his response. Can he come back at Rotich? Rotich starting to tie up a little bit. Giles gaining in confidence all the time. I think Rotich has just got enough in the back there. Rotich comes through 144.17. Elliot Giles in 2nd place. A terrific run for the British athlete there coming through. And Rotich makes it 5 wins out of 5.
He'll be close to his lifetime best of 144.68.
Well, it was a strange first lap, wasn't it, Steve? And all credit to Elliot Giles for just taking charge of things, really. And he'll be delighted with that 2nd place.
He may well be rewarded with a personal best, and that's because he committed himself. And you know, that was, yes, he has. There you go. He's knocked a couple of tenths off his best. So well done, Elliot Giles. He followed Rotich. I said the 200 ago was anyone's race because I thought the others were going to come through. You know, when you've sat off, you can come in and run, get into the low 144s. But Hoppel nowhere. Others struggling. You mentioned Cheruiyot was just going backwards, but these two committed themselves. Rotich rewarded with a win. Giles with a new personal for best. Great, Great Britain have got so many 800-metre runners running under 145. I don't think it's ever, even going back to the 80s, been quite as good as this. And he chased him home. He didn't let him go. He didn't quite make up ground, maybe made up a metre in the home straight. And Rotich stayed strong. He committed down the back straight, got the lead, kept going, and well done those two. The rest, 5 out of 10.
Yeah, Kinyamal coming through for third place, looking a bit ragged in the final stages.
Well, we've been talking about the long jump competition where we're going to be having this final 3, and this is a chance to really showcase the field events, the horizontal events. So the performance that you had in the earlier rounds gets you through into the final 3, but then that's scrapped in terms of deciding who wins the competition. So Brume, who after in round 3 jumping 6.71, she did pass in round 5 incidentally. So now all eyes on this competition. It'll be Brume, Beck Romanchuk, who in the 5th round went all the way out to 6.79, and Sanya. And actually Sanya and Beck Romanchuk had this same scenario, as I said, in Stockholm earlier on in the season, and Sanya went into it leading the competition, but Beck Romanchuk was the one who won on the night. And Kari Sanya has had a super year. As I said, only 1 defeat in that competition in Stockholm. Candy is a nickname she likes to go by. I'll be hoping things turn out different in this final 3. So this would mean if we had the full stadium, all eyes would be now only on the long jump. So the person who was in 3rd place coming into this final 3 competition goes first. So on this occasion, it's going to be Brume. And let's see, there's the 3 of them ready to go. And it'll be Beck Romanchuk, and then Sanya will be last to go. It's, of course, all about tactics as well as anything else. Do you play safe? Do you completely commit to this? Certainly for Sanya, by the time she jumps, she'll know what she has to do. For Brume, interesting that she passed in round 5, and she's already on the runway, and then the other 2 will line up. So it doesn't matter what they did before. As I said, that was kind of, think of it as a way of qualifying like you would in a heats or a semi-final for the final. And here's the final 3 in the long jump. Beck Romanchuk, the World Championships, great experience for her last year. But Brume, as I said, real talent, had 1 or 2 injury problems over the last 3 or 4 years, but Okagbare, the great hero, she said she wants to emulate. I remember when she won those Commonwealth Games, if you're a big athletics fan back in 2014, it was because Okagbare was a late withdrawal, wasn't she? And Brume went on to still take the title in the long jump for Nigeria. So the 24-year-old trying to get the athletes that are around at least to try and create a bit of atmosphere for us. So she's first to go in the final 3 competition. Pretty strong and quick. Well, that may well be a decent effort there if she gets the white flag. That's the first thing. Of course, by putting in that bit of extra effort here for this 1 jump, you always risk the chance of a no jump, but she gets the white flag, and now what did that look like? Maybe 660, 670 thereabouts, maybe even a little bit further, who knows? So season's best. This is her first competition back. 671 this evening will stand as a season's best. Has she gone further than that? A little smile from her. 668. Well, that's the benchmark for the other 2.
Well, there's the target, 668 then for Beck Romanchuk, who's next to go. Qualified for the final 3 in 2nd place. So she knows exactly what she has to do now. Beck Romanchuk, world and European silver medalist, and trying to recreate that atmosphere. The athletes playing their part. We've got technology helping as well. Interesting, some of the athletes say that they don't mind there being no spectators because they're used to blocking out huge noise anyway. They can get in the zone and just forget there are 50,000 people. There aren't 50,000 people tonight. But here she goes, 6.68 the target. Oh, that's brilliant. If she's got a legitimate jump there, it looked good on takeoff. It was good on takeoff. And that, to me, looks a significant improvement on 6.68. And that has laid the gauntlet down, surely now, for Sanya, who is last to jump. Brilliant lift. Well, that is getting out towards 7 meters. Mihambo, remember, is the only athlete this season to have gone clear of 7 meters in the world. 691. It's an improvement, a big improvement. And that is the target now, Steve, for Sanya.
Well, Marina Bekramanchuk, she's got this, hasn't she, sorted in her head, because this is exactly what she did in Stockholm earlier on in the year. She went out to 6.85 in the final 3 competition and ended up winning it. It was her best jump of the night. She's done it again here, almost a personal best, 6.91. So Sanya up against it again. The Swede, oh, just hitting the edge. That's certainly not as far, is it? She looked like she didn't have the confidence to go for it. And as she was coming down the runway there, just looked a little bit off balance for me, but then, yeah, she knows it. Same again. The question is she second or third? So she came into the final 3 with the best jump to qualify, but not able to lift her game in the same way that Bekramanchuk just has. So we're going to have certainly one athlete thinking, I'm not sure I quite like this final 3 thing, and the other one thinking, yep, works for me, absolutely. And in fact, Sanya, 6.55, will end up in 3rd place. There's the winner. Bekramanchuk wins, Brume in 2nd place, and Sanya, having gone into the final 3 leading, ends up 3rd.
Well, well, well. It's Stockholm all over again. Bekramanchuk winning a jump off the final 3 for the 2nd time. And poor old Kadi Sanya, just as happened in Sweden, is having to not just settle for 2nd, but 3rd here in Doha. So Bekramanchuk now starts to be just giving the impression that she's the master or the mistress of this final 3 jump-off.
Certainly showing that she can produce the dramatic finish to the competition that it's partly designed to try to create.
So their confirmation of the result in the final 3. Bekramanchuk with that brilliant 6.91, taking the win. Brume in 2nd place, 6.68, and Sanya, who'd led the way prior to that, 6.55 in 3rd. Just confirmation then of the 800 meters result. Ferguson Rotic 1:44.16, a season's best. Giles with that personal best, rewarded for his courage and willingness to take it on, and Kinyamal, the Kenyan, coming through in 3rd place.
So the far side of the track, the women's 3,000 meters about to get going, and a big field, but it's a field which, with just literally 3 or 4 exceptions, have all won medals at various either global championships or indoors and outdoors, or area championships such as the Europeans and the Commonwealth Games. And that is a phenomenal field there lining up for this. And a few we haven't seen yet this year, really. Gemetchu we have seen, had a great performance here last year. Both her and Laura Waitman at the World Championships, running personal best in the 5,000 meter final, and Waitman certainly been in very good form this year at 1,500 and 5,000, and chased Helen Obiri home in Monaco on that very, very quick 5,000 meters there. And Helen, you can see personal best 8:20, and quite a few of these athletes were in the fast 3,000 in the Prefontaine Classic meeting last year. Tirop now, will she be able to cope with the shorter distance? Agnes Tirop, bronze medalist at the World Championships last year. What about Sigai? What a great range she has, 1,500 up to 5,000 as well. And I think she won't be too far away here. Plenty of others to talk about once we get them moving. Beatrice Chepkoech, the world champion in the steeplechase, is here. Kieng, former world champion in the steeplechase, also And then you look at the likes of Jess Hull of Australia, who's in great form. Wherever you look, the two, or all of the athletes here will be hoping for a fast race here. So the women's 3,000 metres, 7.5 laps of the track. We know the pace that they've been told Winnie Chibet will be heading for around about 67, 68 second laps, try and get through the first kilometre in under 250, and then we'll see what happens. With a bit of luck, she'll try and get them to 1,500 metres. And there'll be Helen Obiri that everybody will be watching for. Helen's just on the outside, is going to take a little bit of time to work her way through. Chepkoech up there. Courtney Bryant of Great Britain on the inside, Jess Hull there. A bit of a nudge from Kiprono there. Sorry, from Kiprop. Agnes Kiprop a little further back in the pack there. And nobody really going with the pace. And Helen Obiri is the one who asked for it. She said she wants to come here and run fast. It's just taking a little time to get up there. Nose perhaps going a little quick. She's a smart runner, Helen Obiri, and just realises that Winnie Chibet's just set off a bit quick there.
Back to the pole vault then. Renaud Lavillenie, third attempt at 5:82 to stay in the competition. Oh yes! Well, the roar hasn't gone away. The shop steward is over, and he's still alive and kicking in this competition. He loves it. And we could just hear the whoop whoop from Kendricks, as he's done every single time somebody's gone over. So Lavillenie rolling back the years, equaling the meeting record, which has already been equaled by Duplantis, remember, earlier today. So the top three still in. Kendricks, though, for how much longer? His third attempt at 5:82. World champion, remember. Oh, and he too is over. Terrific. Anything you can do, Renaud, I can do as well. Such good friends, spurring each other on and clinging onto the coattails here of Mondo Duplantis.
It was a 68 first lap once they got onto the back of Winnie Chibet. Helen Obiri is there now, and the whole field still nicely bunched. It's a decent pace, but not too fast. And Helen Obiri with Tirop behind her. And everybody else, Sigai a little bit further back, third or fourth in the main pack, if you like. Others just waiting and trying to be a little bit patient, see how this pace develops. And Kip Kemboy, who hasn't raced yet this year, just moving up on the outside as well. Chepkoech has been a little bit up and down in terms of form. The former, or the world champion in the steeplechase. But Winnie Chibet going through 1,000 metres, just about what they asked for. Anything under 250 is pretty quick, 2:48.46, so the pace is good.
Yeah, it's respectable, isn't it, Steve? Bang on the money. And Helen Obiri, who was sounding quietly confident for me in the press conference yesterday, has a very quietly spoken voice, but she said she wanted to come here and do something special, and we know how versatile she is, not just on the track, but across the cross-country as well, and even talked about perhaps stepping up over to the road from 2022.
Well, we'll be hoping that Chibet can keep going to 1,500 metres. She was asked to go through around about 4:12, so she's heading for that. And Obiri there with Tirop behind and Chepkoech. Here's Sam.
Back to Sam then. Bar at 5:92.
Sam, he'll come back for one more attempt.
So they all passed at 5:87, the bar up from 5:82 to 5:92.
5 volts at 5:92 by the three guys.
Obiri still leading the pack. Chepkoech has been close. Tirop has been close. Laura Waitman's starting to move up a little bit on the outside. Sigai is just happy in the middle of the pack there, so all of the big names that were expecting to do well just feels though the pace has picked up a little bit at the front, as Chibet will be probably thinking about dropping out now. Obiri there, Waitman and Hull realising they've got to stay with that pace. Gamechu looks as though she's just struggling a little bit to hang on to this, and they've just gone through 1,500 metres, just about spot on there from the pacemaker. Winnie Chipette doing a good job and keeping it going, but she's going to move aside now. So all about what does Helen Obiri want to do? Does she want to pick this up? Does she want to move it on in the middle of the race? Sometimes she just lets it drop and then big, strong last 1,000 meters because there's plenty still there sitting on her shoulder. Chepkoech, Tirop, Sigai behind Helen Obiri. Hailu is there as well. Waitman and Hull with Gemetchu at the back of this pack. Chepkoech just keeping herself a little bit of room.
Here he is, Mondo, second attempt at 5.92. Oh no, by his own standards, that is disappointing.
Pace is beginning to pick up now. 3 laps to go, a 68. Chepkoech is still close. Kip Kemboy is right in there. Hailu looking good. Sigai on the inside. Waitman and Hull with Gemetchu at the back. Helen Obiri not got rid of them yet. She looked for the big last 1,000 meters. That's the way she likes to keep moving. She is so quick as well, deceptively so. Many people think that Helen can't kick. She was a great 1,500 meter runner in her day, and goodness me, I don't know where people get that idea from, because she is very, very quick when she needs to. 2:51, slower kilometer there, and that's why there are plenty in with a chance here.
So much quality in this field. 14 medals between the field at various age groups and across different disciplines. We've got steeplechasers in here as well. As you mentioned earlier on, Chepkoech there, just sticking onto the shoulder of Obiri.
It's slowing up. Laura Waitman looking on the outside as they come round with 2 laps to go. She's thinking about maybe trying to get it moving, but the 1,500 meter pace might help here. But these women know that from the front, it's the world champion controlling things. There's another slow lap there. Chepkoech on her shoulder, then Tirop. Kip Kemboy and Hailu close. Sigai watching Kiengos, the other steeplechaser, just moving on her outside. Obiri just starting to wind things up a little bit, but they haven't started kicking hard yet.
Watch out for Kieng as well, who's got a lethal kick. She's still in the mix there as well.
Chepkoech looks comfortable, doesn't she, at this point? And Jess Hull has gone off the back of this now. It's the Kenyans and Ethiopians, Laura Waitman of Great Britain still there. Anyone at the national pride at stake here, but also individual pride, as Chepkoech says, I'm not waiting anymore for Helen Obiri. So Chepkoech, Obiri, Tirop, these three just starting to stretch away a little bit. As they come round now, it'll be the bell. Chepkoech deciding, I'm not going to hang on. Hailu moving up, Kieng there as well. Kip Kemboy just starting to struggle a little bit, as indeed is Waitman. They take the bell, 7:20.
Well, Chepkoech, who blew the world record apart, didn't she, in Monaco a couple of years ago over the jumps, but she hasn't got rid of Obiri yet, and there she goes.
Obiri kicking hard and strong with just over 300 to go. Chepkoech trying to go with her. Tirop is there as well, the 10,000 meter specialist, and others trying to pick up the bits after that. Kieng, the steeplechaser, also trying to chase down Chepkoech, but it's Helen Obiri, those arms pushing out in front as they often do, and with 200 to go, Obiri beginning to look like she's got this, but it's not an unassailable lead. Her teammates and Sigai still in that group as well behind. Helen Obiri, the world champion, from Chepkoech, then Tirop. Kieng just starting to struggle a little bit now, and it's going to be Helen Obiri. I can't see anybody catching at this point. They're all working hard here down the home straight, but Obiri's got enough, and she's just starting to tie up a little bit as Tirop tries to get ahead Chepkoech. It's going to be Obiri's win. Very close on the line, maybe Chepkoech just hanging on. 8:22 the winning time, and the others will be rewarded with some under 8:30 behind in that leading group. Then Gemetchu coming through, and Jess Hull might not be too far away from that Australian record. We'll keep an eye on that. Kiprop and then Ailish McColgan. That was hard work, even for Helen Obiri, and it was only 2 seconds off a personal best in the end. The pace went up, it went down, it was strong in the last 2 laps again, and she had to go hard. Chepkoech took it to her, and in the end, they almost came back to her, didn't they? It was a war of attrition almost in the end, Chris.
It was, and in terms of body language, Steve, you have to say that Chepkoech looked the smoother. She looked actually serene, even though Tirop may have just picked her for second place, and it was really Obiri with that already quite ungainly arm carriage that we know is so effective. Actually, it's deceptive, but she looked as though she was really having to dig deep, far deeper than Chepkoech and Tirop, but still had enough to hold them off. And we're just getting confirmation Tirop did just pip Chepkoech on the line, both lifetime bests for Chepkoech and Tirop in second and third respectively.
Yeah, some very fast times there behind Helen Obiri. She's been in this territory before. Some of these women haven't. It's warm, it's hot in Doha, not always easy to produce the quick times, and you can see how hard people had to work there. Second, third, fourth, all with personal bests, and there'll be a few more behind them as well, I'm pretty sure. And but Helen Obiri showing why she's the world champion. She is so strong and has got the pace as well.
Back to the vaulters. Lavillini, who needed 3 attempts to get over at 5.82. Here he is, drinking once again in the same saloon. Last chance at 5.92. Lying in third place. The top three, the three big names, the three brothers, are lying 1, 2 and 3 respectively. Here he goes, Lavillini. Oh, that wasn't a bad attempt, was it? He had the height.
Well, we're going to take a very hasty exit onto the red button to wrap up everything we've seen in Doha tonight, so join us there in just a moment.